What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, October 7th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have an interesting group of games for us to attack, and they are big games, and we're not weighed down by quantity, so we can focus on quality. Diving deep into this. Also, I haven't made a bet in over 24 hours. Fucking itching. Want to get some action in here. I can't believe we broke down all those NCAA football games yesterday, and I didn't move on anything. I didn't move on the Cardinals-Dodgers game either. So I'd like to have some fresh action. Shout out to everybody joining us in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Viper and B in the house. Sammy Culmer says, what up, Jimmy? 2 play of the days. Rams minus 2.5, minus 104. And Rams Rays money line parlay. That's how we're breaking down the show today. We're going to dive into these 2 MLB games heavy. Then we're going to beat up the Thursday nighter. Beat it up. I'm going to focus on total side of things. And we're going to have Dutch Boy Fresh joining us to break down player props. I also have Matty Ice's Taint play of the day, and it too is a player prop for Thursday night. He's not sure if he's going to make the show, so he sent that in. Ick Schnizzle ready to get to work. Michael Irvelina says, I got the Rams +1 for a K before Sunday. Now I'm thinking of putting some down on Seattle +2.5, hoping for a +3 with room for a middle. I think that if it gets to 3, that's a good idea. We'll go over all of that, but I think if it gets to 3, that's a good idea. It's dangerous fading the Seahawks at home. Now, I did with the Titans. I think I got a +5.5 or 6. I can't remember on that game, and look, Titans had to have a big comeback. We do know that there's issues in the front 7 in the pass rush with the Seahawks, which could help out the Rams heavy, but I think if it gets to 3, Michael Irvelina, there's no reason to not cut down your risk and go for a middle. But we'll have to see if it gets to 3. I think that's a very important number. But Dick Schnizzle says, no, stick with your action. Don't try the middle. I think you will cash that Rams play. I'm also on the Rams, but I did not get that +1. Love it. Love what you're thinking. Here's Nutflush Allen in the house. Nutflush, Dodgers Giants, baby. It's what the world needs, what the world wants. TC in the house. Slatsy ready to go on Rams -1 made Sunday and Astros -130. Cannot trust Lance Lynn since returning from injury. I can't wait. We're going to dive deep into those games, so I'm very excited. There's Paco Healy in the house. Paco Healy says, I'm a bigger San Francisco fan than Nutflash now. Let's go Giants. 586 Soldier ready to get to work. Michael M. Jason Turgi. And Nick Schnell says, I like the Rams and the under today. Think may tease that. There's Danny Lopez. Best look of the day. Kosovo versus Czech Republic. Both teams not to score. Jesus, that's got to be a nice payout for you. All right. Damon Santori says it's 3 on Bovada. But it's been 3 on Bovada. You know, it's been very strange. Because it moved to 3 on Bovada at about 3 o'clock yesterday. Or 3 at Bodog. Sorry. 3 at Bodog at about 3 o'clock yesterday. And then Bet Online moved it to 1 at -130. Mixed messages. All righty. Clint started the Die Hard MMA podcast in the house. Darren Wynn at +260 on Saturday and by decision at +550. Maxwell Smart in the house with a little riddle for us. A little riddle for me. All right. I'm going to have to work out that riddle. I think I have, but I don't know what it is entailing. I've been a little under the weather the last couple of days. The kids brought sickness into the house. So I didn't get to go on Razor Sharp's horse racing show yesterday. I did make some bets. It was a giant show, though. It was a great looking show. All right, let's get to work. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. We start with MLB wild card action done. Now we are in the ALDS. Let's get right to work. We start with the Chicago White Sox, 93-69, 40-41 on the road at Houston Astros, 95-67, 51-30 at home. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Lance Lynn going up against Lance McCullers. Michael Irving said, I saw that on Bedline too, Jimmy. Confused the heck out of me. It threw us all for a loop. There's Wolfie. No, Wolfie. Why? What's I did not create another YouTube channel. I have my own one, but I haven't put anything on for a long time as I'm here on Pop Sports Radio. All right, let's go. This is what Chris says, cracking cures everything. I hope that's the case. I hope that is the case. Okay, let's go. We're at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Lance Lynn going up against Lance McCullers. Let's start with the market, and then we'll move over to the cash first and foremost, and then we will dive deep into this game. I've not moved on either at this point, but I can understand the interest in fading Lance Lynn, but it scares me to say that out loud. Lynn and the White Sox open up at Pinnacle plus 127. There's been a 6-cent move towards them. They're now at plus 121. From a total side of things, this total under 8 at minus 114 was the opener, and Pinnacle's the first book to move it down to 7.5. So expect all the other books to follow suit. Now let's see if the market makes sense with the cash flow. Here we go. 7,162 tickets in. On the spread, let's forget the spread. On the money line, 57% of the tickets on the Astros, 60% of the cash on the Astros, and a 6-cent move over to the White Sox. Interesting. Then we have 56% of tickets on the under and 74% of cash on the under, and a big move towards the under. Gerald Jones has tailed Pete on Chicago White Sox to win the series at plus 100. Tyrone Coleman ready to get to work. And Paco Healy maybe says it best. Can't fade the big-titted Bulldog. Wolfie says surely under is worth a look. Friedrich on the White Sox and the White Sox to win the series, but says he is biased. We'll start with the big-titted Bulldog. Lance Lynn, 11-6, 2.69 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 157 innings, 176 Ks, 45 walks. Okay. His last start, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 Ks, and an 8-1 win at home versus the Tigers. At home, he's been better than he's been on the road. At home, 7-3, 2.56 ERA, 195 opponent's batting average, but the splits aren't too big of a deal. 4-3 on the road, 2.90 ERA, 229 opponent's batting average. And we're going to go over his batter versus pitcher stuff here, but the main issue is he started once against Houston this year at Minute Maid, and it did not go well. At Minute Maid on June 19th, he threw 4 innings. He allowed 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and a 7-3 loss. Can you trust this man? This is what he wants so badly. This is what he's always wanted. He's a big game pitcher. He wants all the eyes on him. Against Lance Lynn, these Astros are hitting .321 with a .944 OPS. Wolfie says, doesn't McCullers pitch better at home? No, not this year. But we'll get into McCullers here in a second. Let's see. Okay, who beats up Lance Lynn? Is it the big sticks? Bregman, 6 for 15 with a double, triple, and 2 jacks. Martin Maldonado, who is dealing with left shoulder soreness. So it might be Jason Castro. Maldonado hasn't hit all year. He's been terrible offensively, but he's 7 for 14 with a double and a jack against Lance Lynn. Yordan Alvarez, 5 for 11 with a jack. Jose Altuve, 13 for 34 with 3 doubles and 2 jacks. Michael Brantley hitting .385 with a 1.025 OPS, 10 for 26 with 2 doubles and a jack. Carlos Correa is the one big stick that doesn't get to him. He's 1 for 12. Everybody else does. Does that make you want to back the Houston Astros. Pimp slap play today is in. White Sox first 5 plus a half. Pimp slap eating. Yesterday was the Cardinals first 5 plus a half. So I'll pop that pimp slap play today right under this. Well. Do all those stats make you want to back the Houston Astros and fade the big-titted Bulldog? That's the question. Slatsy says top 4 hitters are all hitting close to 400 against Lynn. It was interesting because you had Pete saying, take the White Sox in the series if you believe that their starting pitching is healthy. And then you have Dennis Garcia saying, what are the Astros -1.5 in this series in games 1? And that was just plus 165, which Dennis didn't deem enough. And I get that. I guess you're better. If you're going to win the series 4-2, you will make more money if you just bet them every game. Max on record says take the Stros in October. It's cheating time. All right, let's talk about Lance McCullers. 13-5, 3.16 ERA, 1.22 WHIP, 162 in the third, 185 Ks, 76 walks. In his last start, he went 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 walk, 4 Ks in a 3-2 win at home versus the Rays. At home, he's 6-3 with a 3.51 ERA, 208 opponent's batting average. Slightly better on the road, 7-2, 2.70 ERA, 200 opponent's batting average. He has faced these White Sox twice this year. First on June 20th at Minute Maid, he went 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and an 8-2 win. Then at Guaranteed Rate Field on July 16th, he went 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 2 walks, 10 Ks in a 7-1 win. This makes you feel, and Brian Watson saying Argos, yes, a nice call by Noli knows I should have jumped on the Argos. It certainly makes you feel like the look would be the Houston Astros. McCullers threw 5 straight quality starts in September. Jose Abreu was sick over the weekend. I'm expecting that he's better, but it was a non-COVID illness. He's expected to be a full participant. And then we have these injuries all year to the bullpen for the Houston Astros. And the same thing goes with the Tampa Bay Rays. With all of the injuries to the Astros bullpen, it makes you wonder if the spot is to just back the Astros first 5, but then you would be fading one man, the big-titted Bulldog. So let's do this right now. We're going to go to right-handed pitchers in September and October and see what we are dealing with here. So for these Tampa Bay Rays, over the last 35 days or so, they're hitting just 233 with a 729 OPS. Houston, on the other hand, 271 with a 796 OPS. Oh, sorry, why am I looking at the Rays? What the hell's wrong with me? Rays are in my head. Houston, 271, 796 OPS. The White Sox, 266, 755 OPS. Nutflush Allen says, with these numbers from Astros, great spot to look at first inning. If no run, bomb the over. There's Dommy Gun Ricci in the house. Rodney Barton. Billy Friedrich says, postseason is different than regular season, though. I agree, but it's important to know what happened in the regular season. There's Mr. Gogster in the house. Let's then take a look at the bullpen for the White Sox and the Astros over the last 30 days. We'll start with the whip. The White Sox whip 1.21. It's been solid. Houston has been dealing with injuries. If Houston loses this series, it is simply because of their bullpen dealing with all these issues. John Garcia says, doesn't this Houston squad know Lance pretty well? They do. Johnny K says, like Astros, that play's going to be nuts. It does feel like it's all about whether or not you want to fade Lance Lynn. Because you can expect, just like his 5 starts from McCullers that he'll probably go 6 innings with 2 runs allowed. If he goes 6 innings with 2 runs allowed, do you feel like you have an advantage with the Astros first 5? Johnny K says, like the Astros, the place is going to be going nuts. DJ Big Boss in the house. Billy Friedrich says, Kimbrel on the mound scares me as a Sox fan. He's been awful since the trade. Well, with all of this said and done, I don't think I'll take Astros full game. Now, in the one spot where you could trust them full game, probably, would be the first game of the series when we know their bullpen's rested. The question will be, what happens to this bullpen after their big pieces are used? Because they have dealt with a ton of injuries, and they have not looked good. They have not looked good. Okay, with all that being said, I've not moved on this game, but the Astros interest me. They interest me first 5. First 5. So let's see what kind of market move we've had on just a money line first 5 here. If it's the same as the full game market move, we'll go over to Bet Online. Bet Online opened the Astros at minus 140 at 7:39 this morning. Went to minus 135, up to minus 142 now, minus 136. There's Noli Nose in the house, fresh off watching Taylor's home run in person. There is Razor Sharp Picks in the house. Great to see you, Razor. Big horse racing show tonight, and I'll have the big NFC West battle live. Larry Garr, great to see you. Rodney Barton took the Astros full game and the over. Let's see what happens. I think that I'm just stuck. Okay, there's one. I'm stuck here. I guess we have to trust what Lance Lynn's numbers are against this squad. Because if you just go with the numbers, you would fade him first 5. Again, Lance Lynn against them. 321 with a 944 OPS. And I think that has to be the spot. I really do. I think it has to be Astros first 5. Let's just see what we get right now comparing the Astros first 5 as a money line. The money line minus 140 at Bet365. That's too expensive. And if we take the 5-inning alternate line, we get minus 110. So it takes 30 cents off of the price. 4 innings. I can't do that first 4.5. They're giving you at Bet365 first 4.5 plus a half minus 160. So it'd be first 5 minus a half. Mr. Gogs are saying no run first inning. There's Ski Profit back in the house after his birthday celebration. And Mr. Gokster says Linus money during these day games, even dating back to last year. Larry Garr, we all expect Abreu to be playing. We all expect Abreu to be playing. It was a non-COVID related illness. All right. A very interesting thing is being brought up by our Mr. Gokster, and that being daytime splits in this spot. God, it's going to be a fun game. Let's just take a look at the daytime splits for Lance Lynn, and then we will move past this. Let's see if the daytime splits scare us with the Bulldog here, and then we will move on. All right, here we go. In the day, he's 4-1 with a 1.38 ERA. Oh, Gokster. I guess it comes down to this, man. Look, now, a lot of us studied how Pistol Pete Loshak did his thing. And he would attack the regular season with great vigor. And then he would stop in the playoffs. And you see a lot of pro handicappers do that in the sports that they excel at, stop in the playoffs, believing that the lines are tighter. Then last year, working with Noli Knows every night, I destroyed the playoffs. It was the best playoff run I've ever had for my life. And it made me think, okay, I got to focus on that. Ski Profit, I expect Abreu to be in the lineup with a non-COVID related illness that made him miss last weekend. So I expect Abreu to be there. Everybody, as far as I know, in all my research, everybody expects him to be in there. So with all that being said, I just can't fade the big-titted Bulldog. Let's get Robert Cherry's action here. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And I'm certainly not going to back him because the numbers tell different stories. Robert Cherry, I've got all of his action here right now. He is on Houston -1. Oh, that's football. Okay. All righty. In the end, I don't see a move I can make in game 1 of the ALDS. Cheshire Cat says, even with Abreu, it's the Astros, isn't it? I don't trust this Astros bullpen. So there's not enough. When you have a favorite, now I know we're not talking about a big favorite here. You do want everything to correlate, and it just can't fully do that for me. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. I don't feel like I have a feel for either the total or the side in this spot. I think the 4 is exactly where you put the number. And Nutflush says, live play this total. Billy Friedrich says, Sox schedule isn't any weaker than the Braves. I don't know. Thank you, Deacon Mike. He says, I look good for 54. Thank you. And there's Benjamin Martin in the house. Okay. Let's move on to ALDS Game 2, 8:07 p.m. Eastern. Boston Red Sox at Tampa Bay Rays. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I wonder if Jose Bouquett has a say-hey play today for this game because he didn't mention that he had one. And no, look at that. He's pensive. The man pensive about his Red Sox.
They better win. The Rays better win tonight. If they don't win tonight, they get Chris Sale for game 2. Sox up 2-0. They better win tonight.
Okay, let's go. Red Sox, Rays. Red Sox 92-70, 43-38 on the road. Tampa Bay Rays 162, 52-29 at home. Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida. It's the ALDS, and I'm saying the words Boston Red Sox. How is this possible? Eduardo Rodriguez on the hill. He had such a bad start to the year, but they could count on him throughout this whole season. 157 2/3, 185 Ks, 47 walks, 13-8, 4.74 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. His last start was October 1st, but he made an appearance on October 3rd when they needed him badly coming out of the bullpen. Last start, October 1st, he went 5 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 6 Ks, 3 walks, and a 4-2 win at Washington. On October 3rd, that appearance, he came in and had a perfect inning with the strikeout. And Cheshire Cat says, I love Lance, but I think tonight is an Astros night. Noli No says Rays in 4. Sammy Comer says Red Sox are hungover. And Ski Prophet says Rays win. Cheshire Cat says, I have the Rays as well. And Noli Knows took the Rays in 4 at plus 375. And all this must be angering Jose so much. Let's move over to the market here. This first 5 total is at 4. And there's been a 11-cent move to the under. Let's go to full game money lines and totals here. This total opened up at 8, and just like in the White Sox Astros game, Pinnacle is the only book that's moved it to 7.5. All the other books are sitting at 8. The Rays and McClanahan open up at -151. They're now at -149. A 2-cent move to the Boston Red Sox. Now let's take a look at the cash flow. Does that follow suit? The hell, are they not giving us this game? Why is this game not up here? This game is not up at Sports Insights. Let me do a little refresh. How could this game not be up? There it is. Okay, so the refresh. 3,795 tickets in. 61% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on the Rays, and yet we have a move to the Boston Red Sox. Then we have 45% of the tickets, 46% of the cash on the under. Shane McClanahan going up against Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez has seen a lot of these Tampa Bay Rays. He also has splits that should help him in this situation. At home, 4-4 with a 5.95 ERA, 282 opponents batting average. On the road, 9-4. 3.95 ERA, 273 opponents batting average. He faced them 4 times this year, twice at Tropicana and twice at home. June 22nd, at Tropicana, he went 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 of which were earned, 1 homer, 1 walk, 7 Ks, 9.5 extra inning loss. Then August 10th, at home, at Fenway, he went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 walk, 8 Ks, and 8-4 loss. Then September 2nd, he had possibly his best start of the year. At Tropicana, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Then he had to face him 5 days later, and they got to him. 3 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, 0 walks, 3 Ks, and a 12-7 loss. So let's move over to this spot here and go to baseball data. Against Rodriguez, they're hitting .271 with an .843 OPS, 35 for 129. Who are the bats that hit him? Lau, 4 for 13 with 3 homers. Zunino, 4 for 11 with a double, triple, and a homer. Yandy Diaz. Now, Yandy Diaz is hurt. He's got a rib injury. He is expected to be there. And if not, I mean, this is such a deep squad. You can put Wendell in third place. You have so many options. And Wendell is 1 for 2 against him, but Diaz 7 for 17. But Nelson Cruz, 5 for 27, 2 doubles and 2 jacks. Manuel Margot, 4 for 12. Kiermaier, 1 for 12. Austin Meadows, 1 for 10. Darren Thompson says, I live in a tent in the woods. I cash because of you guys. Let's get you. Maybe you choose the tent. Some people want to live in a tent in the woods. Get away from the hustle and bustle. Just come in to make bets. If that is the case for you, sir, we should film a documentary about you. I bet you it would be fascinating. Okay. Let's move on to Shane McClanahan, the kid. In the biggest start of his young career. He was excellent this year. 10-6, 3.43 ERA, 1.27 whip, 123 1/3, 141 Ks, 37 walks. Fat Wally in the house. Last start, they only let him go 3 innings. 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, no walks, 3 Ks, and a 4-3 win at the Yankees. His splits just show he's a very good pitcher. At home, 7-3, 3.50 ERA, 261 opponents batting average. On the road, 3-3, 3.36 ERA, 242 opponents batting average. He faced the Red Sox 3 times. First, on August 1st at home, he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 homer, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Then September 2nd at home, he went 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks, and that 4-0 loss. September 8th at the Red Sox, 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and a 2-1 loss. Then we'll move over to the verse lefties situation here. And we'll move over and time filter it for September, October. All right, let's take a look at what we are dealing with against lefties in the last 35 days or so. We have this Rays squad smashing them. 298 with an 884 OPS. And we remember, they had terrible numbers versus lefties, picked up Nelson Cruz, and everything changed. Now, it all isn't because of Nelson Cruz, but they started destroying lefties. Boston, 275, 769 OPS versus lefties. Let's move over to the bullpen. Move over to the bullpen here. We'll do the same time filter. And let's see what we're dealing with. The whip for this Rays bullpen, 1.22. And it was supposed to be such a strong bullpen, but they dealt with a ton of injuries throughout the year. This Boston bullpen has not been good. 1.35 whip. And there were times we thought this Boston bullpen would cost them everything here. Noli knows says Rays first 5. The Red Sox and these teams that win a wild card game are tricky because they get hot. And it feels like year after year we see wild card team make a big run. Now, last year, we should just put a line through it. Wasn't the same as a 162-game season finally getting in. Jose just locked in Wander over 1.5 bases at plus 127. Says plus 127 is nuts. Okay, so let's talk about this market move. We have a 2-cent move to the Red Sox, but we have all this money coming in on the Rays. Do I really want to stand in the way of this Boston Red Sox team right now? Maybe. Billy Friedrich likes Tampa Bay first 5-2. Maybe I do. Let's see what I would get here if I was to take the Rays first 5. First 5 minus 155. Let's see what I would get on the first 5 minus a half. All right, it's not up here. Let me check it on my phone. Such bullshit, this fucking site. Okay, first 5 on the run line is minus 120. That seems like a decent price to pay for a team that is seeing so much of Erod. Against McClanahan, these Red Sox are hitting 245 with a 608 OPS. Every year, it feels like the Rays have a young pitcher who is a superstar, waiting to be showcased in the highest leverage situations. And McClanahan may be this guy. McClanahan may be this guy. So Alex Cora said Wednesday that he will know today about J.D. Martinez, but he thinks Martinez will be in the lineup. Wednesday, he looked okay. When we sprained his ankle on Sunday, it looked okay. Billy Friedrich says time to trade McClanahan in the offseason. No, McClanahan's, he can't make any money for the next few years. Topset says Fields says no, they have it every year. Jose says I would be shocked if JD plays today. Well, after this breakdown, and in saying this, I want to note that I have respect for Eduardo Rodriguez. I have respect for what he's done for this Red Sox team throughout the year, being there at all times. I am going to take for my second bet. So I made one bet on the wild card. It was that first 5 over 4 in Red Sox Yankees that didn't cash, even though it scored 3 runs in the first 3 innings. I'm going to take the Rays first 5 minus 0.5. Slatsy says, any thoughts on Sox team total at 3.5? I got very disappointed. Jose, look at me. Yes. If I had a free bet on the Red Sox team total, let's just take a look at what it is right now. I don't have it up here. How can I not have it up? Do I have to? If I had a free bet on this, well, I got to know the number. This site's messing up here. I would take the under 3.5 team total for the Red Sox at Tropicana in Game 1 of the wild card or of the ALDS. Let me just see this here. Oh, here we go. Under 3.5 at minus 120. That would be my bet. And I think it's a good bet. I think it's a good bet. Hey, I don't see you making a bet on the Red Sox.
I'll take the team total over 3.5. No problem right now. I'll make that the say-hey play of the day.
Are you serious?
Dead ass. No problem.
Well then,
I think they get it in the first 5 innings.
Okay, and so what do you see a vulnerability in Shane McClanahan? They certainly haven't been able to hit him this year.
He's a coward. He sleeps with his night light on. He's afraid of the dark. He has nothing for him, Jimmy. Nothing.
All right. Could you please line shop for your? And by the way, these emotional bets that you've been making are hurting you, Jose. Could you
minus
please
105.
minus, so over Red Sox team
Thanks to our
total.
friends at BetDog, aka Bovada. You know what, Jimmy? And I know these bets has been hurting me. I've kept an eye on it, Jimmy. Everything's strategery here. We've got a lot of strategery going around, and it's good. I'm still up. Winning cappers get to do what they want.
Yes, they do. Well, I think that I will go heads up with you on this spot, and I will take the Red Sox team total under 3.5.
Loser buys a steak dinner for the other one.
Deal. You are on. There you have it. Going heads up with Jose Bouquett. I got Rays first 5 minus a half. Red Sox team total under 3.5.
I'm 4-0 against everyone on this show straight up in these bets, by the way. I just want to remind you that. 2-0 against Mills. I'm 1-0 against Pete, and I'm about to be 1-0 against you again.
You know, it's great to see that confidence. And I'm proud of it. I'm impressed. And tonight we go head to head. We'll see who comes out the victor.
And this isn't the only say hey play of the day. There's another one too today.
Okay. The say hey play of the day: Red Sox team total over 3.5 at minus 105. And I predict, I have a prediction before the first round is over. Jose will be back to being a losing capper on the show. That is my prediction. You are 43-43, up 1.79 units. Your ROI is plus 2.08%, and you are betting with your heart. And it is costing you and will continue to do that, is my belief.
No comment.
Okay, all right. Jose and I going head-to-head. I'm staying off this Astros game out of fear of the big-titted Bulldog Lance Lynn. But here, I am going to move on the Rays first 5 minus a half and the Red Sox team total under 3.5. And when you bet with your heart, when you do anything with your heart, you get fucked over. Don't let your heart have anything to do with shit. Be a pimp out there on the streets. All right. We move on to NFL, the National Football League Thursday Nighter. And not a lot of Thursday Nighters excite me. Now, last week's Thursday Nighter excited me because I had a lot of action on it, and I took it right in ye old brown eye. Right in the heart of the khakis is where I took it. And I don't think I'm going to get hurt here. I don't. We've got a lot of excitement in this. Look, it's my favorite division of football, so having Stafford on the Rams is really fun. And them heading to Seattle for Thursday night action is very, very fun. And we have just the man for the event. Please welcome to the show the freshest man in the handicapping business. Please welcome Dutch Boy Fresh.
Yeah, man. Jimmy the motherfucking bag, bro. Salute to you, all the real motherfuckers in the chat. Salute to all the ladies, gents, and D-gents. It's all love, man. You know, I got that fresh Mai Tai and Skittles cake in the plane. About to take flight, bro. But you know why I'm here. One reason, Jimmy, and that's to turn your fucking bookie to a bum. A fucking bum, my man. Let's do it, bro.
My bookie, he takes in the winter times. He's in Mexico City, and he got robbed this past trip to Mexico City, and I was just put such a big smile on my face. As long as he didn't get hurt, just robbed.
No, like I say, Jimmy, no knife, no gun, just the knowledge, son. That's it. I don't condone the violence, bro. We just trying to take these bookies out. That's it. One motherfucking bet at a time.
It's been too long since we've seen Dutchie on this show. I'm gonna pop up the freshest look video. I miss it. Dutch Boy Fresh, Thursday night football, 8:20 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Rams at Seattle Seahawks. Rams 3-1, 1-0 on the road. Seahawks 2-2, 0-1 at home. We're at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. Lots to break down in this spot, but we should begin by looking at our market. Let's start with the market right now. And I also have the taint play of the day. It is a player prop that we will talk about at some point in this breakdown. So this opened at a pick'em at Pinnacle. But those of you who bet before games pop off know that there was a +1 at some books and a +1.5 also at Bet Online. So Bet Online also opened it at -1 for the Rams. But after the Rams lost shockingly to the Cardinals, this came up to +1.5. Since then, it's all been going towards the Rams. But, and there is a big but, when it first got to 2.5, which was on Tuesday at 3:43 p.m., by 11:19 in the morning, I guess I take that back. By 6:46 yesterday, Bet Online moved this to -1 at -130, and it made no sense to us. It just threw us all for a loop because Bodog had moved it to 3. There are no 3s on the board, and Pinnacle has moved it back to 2. So that's very interesting. And then we move over to the cash flow on the Thursday nighter. 25,698 tickets in. 76% of the tickets, 84% of cash on the spread on the Rams. Then we have 59% of tickets on the over and 67% of cash on the over. CT Bay says Seattle plays at a slow pace and Rams going to run the ball under 54.5. Noli No says Dutch is nice with the props. I've got a ton of stats here, but let's hand it over to Dutch and see where he goes first. And just for my own knowledge, Dutchy, how many props are you looking at here in today's game?
So I got 4 props, bro.
4 props. All right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we save the prop that you like the most? Call it the freshest look as the 4th final prop. Yeah. So we'll close this segment out with the taint play of the day prop and the freshest look prop, the 2 props that are
going to be next to the taint. Salute to my guy Matty. Yeah.
All right, Dutchy, let's get right to work here. Take it away, and I'll add all these stats in as we go. What is the first look on your card?
I was going to piggyback off of what you said and what the chat's going off of too real quick, just because I wanted the 3. I know I talked a little bit Tuesday night. I thought the line was a little disrespectful at 2.5 to a home dog, short week, Seattle. But I haven't placed a bet on this game sidewise or total, but just a couple of things that did stand out to me. But if I seen a 3 on Seattle, which I don't believe will be there no more, that's what I wanted. The Rams, the last 6 games have went over. And it's 4-1 ATS. They're 4-1 ATS in the last 5 meetings in this series. So they have had their way with Seattle. And Seattle is 2-4 in their last 6 ATS. But when I really look into it, I mean, it's hard to go against the over here, even though it's high. It's 4-1 to the over last 5 meetings in Seattle. And shout out to our guy, Butch, Sweaty Butcher. He loves Russ in prime time. And this stat did stand out to me. In the last 11 games, they're 8-1-2. Against the spread on Thursday night games. So simply, Pete Carroll knows what the fuck he's doing. Whatever he's doing, they're getting it right on that short week. So that's hard for me to stand in the way of. And they are 7-3 straight up in their last 10 at home. Y'all take that for what you want. I think it's a tough-ass game. But if I was getting 3 at home, there's no way I wouldn't take it. And I do like Seattle on the teaser. Do you want to touch on that? Or you just want to go
I think that makes absolute sense. I think that makes sense. If the Rams had a beaten up on the Cardinals, I would be on the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But losing 37-20 and having to take that look in the mirror, we're not as good as we think we are, is the number 1 angle for me. The number 2 angle is I never believed in this Seahawk pass rush. And at this point, Carlos Dunlap is being a beast, and he's got the toe sprain. You have Darrell Taylor and Mayowa also with issues. Taylor with the ankle injury, questionable. Mayowa, questionable. They're going to get Trey Brown back. DK Metcalf has a foot injury. So these guys I was on the under in the Seahawks 49ers game confidently. And it's just because these 2 teams beat the shit out of each other. They hate each other. It's a violent, angry game when the two play each other. And for the Seahawks to have to get 72 hours before they have to lace him up and do it again is a lot to ask.
Yeah, I get that.
That's it. True. Those are the two. That's the biggest thing. Now, there's other things here. And one from a side, and I can't wait till we break down your player props because I'll leave this here, is that on third down, the Seahawks are 29th in the league at 33.3%. They had 5 straight 3-and-outs against the Niners, and the Niners couldn't take advantage of it. The Rams will be able to take advantage of it. And the Rams are the second best team in the NFL on third down at 54.3. There's only 4 teams at 50% or higher.
Yeah. But on the other side of that, Jim, they can't get off the field. They give up 50% on third downs, the Rams on defense, if I'm correct. Like one of the highest. They can't get off the field on third down, bro.
Yeah. But so, a team like the Cardinals, I guess it goes both ways. A team like the Cardinals can really take advantage of that. I don't know if the Seahawks can. CT Base says Jamal Adams banged up. Rams going to run a ton with the short week. Simple game plan. Razor says, does the short time frame affect offense or defense more? It affects the trenches. So it's a hard thing to say whether it affects offense or defense more. It affects the line of scrimmage. And that's why it's a tricky thing to say whether it's offense or defense. But it hurts the offensive line and it hurts the front 7. That's who it hurts the most to me. Okay. I love this. We got Dutch Boy Fresh in the house, hammering this Thursday nighter from every which way. We have no time restrictions, nothing to worry about other than getting this cash. Dutchy, take it away. What's your first player prop?
All right, my man. So I'm going to look. Now, I do believe, Darrell Henderson had a good game last week, and I think they can run the ball, obviously, against Seattle. But Matthew Stafford's the best fucking player on that team. The numbers, to me, are showing that he's going to have a big night. I expect points here. I really do. I mean, even if they don't hit the fucking 54, there could still be a lot of points in this game. 27, 24, these are points in these games. There are going to be some points in this game. When I look at Matthew, he's been unreal this year. He's got a quarterback rating of 117.6. He's got 11 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, top 5 in damn near every quarterback rating. The guy's just where he needs to be with an actual winning team and a coach that, can coach his ass. Now I'm going to go over 298.5 minus 115 passing yards, Jim. I know that they can run the ball, but I expect them to attack this week below average secondary. Now Stafford does average 305.5 yards a game on the season. He's went over this number in 2 games. Now the Hawks allow 292.5 yards a game. It's 28th in the league. But in the last 3 games, Jim, against fucking Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, and your boys Jimmy G and Lance, they got averaging 330 yards a game, bro. So now you get Matthew Stafford with this elite offense, these receivers, this coach. That obviously it's a division game. I just look for Matthew Stafford to easily get over 300 passing yards. So we're gonna lock in over 298.5 minus 115, Jim.
Over 298.5 at minus 115. Yeah. The first thought of it is that Stafford's going to have big plays. Mm-hmm. We know that he's going to have big plays. We're also coming off a week where Deshaun Jackson was invisible. So that this is the type of situation that he loves, all eyes on him. And they're going to run the ball. In saying that, Henderson's a little beat up, and Sony Michel is not really to be trusted. That fumble last week was very costly. So run the ball to set up the play action, to set up the pass, to set up a deep ball. I wonder if the longest reception over would be in play here with your breakdown and your expectations of Stafford. But I get it. Stafford on a showcase night after not looking good. He was 26 of 41 for 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Off nights from Cooper Kupp. He only had 5 catches for 64 yards. As I said, night for Deshaun Jefferson. It was Van Jefferson who was the leading receiver with 6 catches for 90 yards. I get it.
Yeah, I don't expect the Rams to stop the Seahawks personally. So all this running, it sounds good if the Rams were up the whole damn time. But I think the Seahawks are going to show up tonight. I think primetime rush is a real thing. I mean, the Seahawks will be in this game. They got weapons. The Rams have proven that they're an over team, that their defense is big names. But like I mentioned, they allow 50% on third down. They can't get off the fucking field, which accumulates the points and yards. I don't believe that the Rams are going to have the comfort of just simply running the ball for 4 quarters.
I like it. We have Dutch Boy Fresh on the board. Stafford over 298.5 passing yards at -115.
Yeah. Just to follow up on that, Jim, the Hawks have allowed 409.6 yards from scrimmage a game since last season. That's 4th worst in the NFL. They just give up a ton of yards. Now, I'm going to look at the receiving core just to obviously, it's going to kind of correlate. Now, the Rams wide receivers average 240 yards a game, best in the NFL. They've accumulated 10 touchdowns so far, also best in the NFL. This Seahawks secondary is nothing to brag about. They allow 183 yards to the wide receivers. Bottom 10 in the NFL. I look for, like I mentioned, I'm obviously expecting yards here, so he's got to throw it to someone. Cooper Kupp, I expect him to have big numbers. He had 13 targets last week, only 5 receptions, I believe. Kind of a lackluster game. You touched on that, Jim. I'm sure he will look for him, but we're going to look for a guy. You actually touched on him also. He had 6 and 90 last week. Van Jefferson, the cat from Florida, played at Ole Miss, 2nd year, 2nd round pick. People thought he reached on him a little. McVay reached a little bit on him. They really like this guy's route running. He's got soft hands, and he's got straight line speed. He had a 67-yard catch last week, Jim, so you're probably right on with that longest reception. I didn't take a look at that, to be honest. But we're going to go over 43.5 receiving yards, -115. On the season, Jim, he's averaging 56.5 yards, 17.4 a catch, and he's got 2 tucks on the year. Now, also, the last 2 games, he's averaging 66 yards, 5 receptions on 6 targets a game. We're going to go ahead and lock in also touchdown plus 210. I look for this guy to get – I don't think no one's really looking at him. He can run every route. He's got the softest hands. I think Stafford's realizing he's got himself a little stud over here. Maybe a little Reggie in the making, Reggie Wayne, if y'all can remember my dude. But we like Van Jefferson over 43.5 as well as the touchdown plus 210.
It all makes sense to me. And CT Bays was saying that it's going to be Van Jefferson he says, going to be the receiver to catch a deep ball will be Van.
That's our guy Basil, right?
Yeah, your man.
Man,
Basil.
he knows what's up. Man, shout out to my guy Basil.
Yeah, he's excellent capper.
Yeah.
But he also is really focusing on Henderson because he says Seahawks 32 versus the run. He's on the under in this game. And the more we talk about it, the more I am liking it. And we'll keep going here. But the more I'm moving towards this under, we have more people on the over in the chat so far, but I'm starting to kind of put together the game script. And it feels to me like you're going to want to keep Russell Wilson off the field as much as possible. And if the Seahawks aren't getting the pass rush, then Stafford will have time to make decisions and will want to beat up this defense and keep them, Russ off the field. So right now we have Stafford over 298.5 passing yards at -115, and Jefferson over 43.5 receiving yards at -115, and touchdown at plus 210. So we are now coming up on the Dutch Boy Fresh best bet here in the player prop market. So before, actually, because I don't know what, I imagine that this isn't going to be just from kind of seeing you put together your action. So I'm going to take a risk and think that your last look is not going to be the same as the Taint play of the day, and I want to close on the freshest look. So let's move over to Matty Ice's Taint play of the day here, and it's Robert Woods receiving yards over 60.5. Is that different from yours?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just happy because it correlates with Stafford, which honestly I really like that play, but we'll work with you, Jim. We got it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me happy. Okay, Robert Woods receiving yards over 60.5 is the taint play of the day. This is from Matty Ice said to me this morning. He said, McVay said he wants to see Woods more involved in the offense. Stafford's passing yards is set at 295, and I believe after McVay's comments that at least 61 of those yards have to go to Woods. The taint play of the day correlates with Dutch Boy Fresh's action. It correlates with us who are on the Rams, and we're still talking about this total that may end up being a move for me. But taint play of the day, Robert Woods receiving yards over 60.5. DC Sportsbook says, yep, I'm on Woods. I have Mike M's curb stomp play today, and I will talk about it here in a second. But right now, we have Robert Woods receiving yards over 60.5, and now we go back to Dutch Boy Fresh. He's given us Stafford over passing yards, Van Jefferson over receiving yards, and Jefferson anytime touchdown. What is the next spot on your card?
Yeah, real quick, Jim. My first, right at the spot, right from the start, I wanted to be on the Rams and the under. But the numbers just don't agree with that. So it's hard for me to go to the window with it. But I'm right with you guys. I think this is the Rams spot. And I think 54 is high as fuck. But I mean, all these things are pointing to the over. The previous meetings, things like that as well. But yeah, the freshest look, man, we're gonna go on the other side right now. We didn't really show too much to Seattle. We're gonna show some love to probably the best player on the whole field, Mr. Russell Wilson. Definitely got the most beautiful wipe out of all these cats, that's for sure. Now, this year, he hasn't really ran the ball that much, right? He hasn't been ran the ball that much. He's been just back there chucking it. But he's last week, real quick, against Frisco, and we talked about this a little bit. You touched on this, Jim, in your previous show. When these are division games, teams that that are going to be playing, it's going to be a good-ass game. Look for these quarterbacks to do what they have to do, and that's running the ball. Now, we're going to look at Russell Wilson over 21.5 rushing yards, minus 110. Now, last week was the first time he's went over this number. He had 4 carries for 26 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. But the previous 3 games he's had last year, they played 3 times against the Rams. He averaged 39.6 yards in those 3 games rushing. I look for Russell to attack this team with his legs any way possible. Believe me, Russ wants to get this game. Now, the Rams, on the other side, I told you this defense is suspect. They got all these big names. I love me Ramsey. Who don't love McDonald or don't, but they're kind of fucking suspect, bro. The Rams allow 26.2 yards a game from the quarterback position, and these are against guys nowhere near the talent of Russell Wilson. For some reason, I'm a little loaded right now. I can't lie. I can't remember everybody that they went against, but the Cats aren't very good. Tom Brady had 14 against them. You can tell me last week Kyle Murray had 39, but yeah, they're averaging 26, giving up 26 yards to the rushing quarterback, to the quarterback's rushing yards per game, excuse me. So I look for Russ to easily get 30 yards here, 25 plus. He will, it's going to be a close game, and Russ will do what he has to do to get the job done. And I don't know if they'll get the W, but they'll be in this game till the fourth quarter for sure.
Over 21.5 rush yards for Wilson. What's the juice on that?
Minus 110, boss.
Minus 110. And that is the freshest look.
Yeah, man.
The freshest look is in. We have 4 props, but only one of them. Only one is the freshest look. Respect. Dutch.
I love it.
Okay.
Music to my ears.
Let's go back to this total before we shut down here. And a couple interesting things, too, that I did want to mention. One, Aaron Donald has 13 career sacks of Wilson. That's his most against any quarterback.
He'll be running for his life back there.
The Seahawks haven't scored more than 20 points in their last 4 meetings with the Rams. And this Rams defense is not the Rams defense that we remember. So we can, put a halt on that. They're 27th in yards allowed at 396.8, 18th in points allowed at 24.8. So it's not as good as we'd like to see it. So here we have a Seahawks team that hasn't scored more than 20 points in a while against Rams. And then we have Stafford, who is 0-3 all time in Seattle, never won in Seattle, and he's 1-3 overall in his career against the Seahawks. You have this Seahawks defense, pass rushers that are hurt, and Stafford's only been sacked 3 times through 4 games. If pass rush is a huge concern, then it moves me towards backing the Rams. Birdie says 49ers put up 400 yards for Seattle D last week. I agree Seattle's D may be worn out here. I can't bet the under knowing I may need a stop from Seattle's D, staying away from the total over, staying over this total, but over if I had a free bet. So let's say that we think the goal will be for Rams to have long drives to beat up this tired defense that was just in a war against the Niners. We know that this defense can get tired. This total's gone from 53 to 54. Then wouldn't that mean that we look at a first half when we saw how slow the Seahawks came out of the chute last week? We've seen this go from 24.5 to 26.5 points. That's a lot of points. Are you telling me that this is going to be 17-10 at the break to lose this over? I think that the first half under is in play. Is this a spot? And by the way, this first half total, and maybe this will keep me off, but this first half total opened up at 24.5 at Pinnacle, and it lasted there for 11 minutes before it moved to 26.5. So clearly they feel like they posted something wrong. I think we have enough tickets here that I can go into first half and still see a 68% of the tickets are on the over, 53% of the cash is on the over. I think a first half under might be in play. Jeff Slaughter, Freddie Swain over 2 receptions at -125. Michael O'Brien, great to see you. And Mike M says, love the first half under at 26.5. Let's talk about this total because I'm close to adding to my action here. I understand your expectations around the Rams offense, but you know, and you're still hesitant to put to, so you believe in the Rams offense, but you're hesitant to bet the Rams as a favorite here. And when I combine those things together, I think that you're feeling there's going to be points scored in this game.
Definitely. I don't trust the Rams D. And I mean, look, that I don't like to stand in the way. 11-1-2 on Thursday night ATS. That's a crazy number to me. I don't know how I can stand in the way of that. It's a competitive game, division game, home dog. Seattle lost last time at home to Tennessee in an overtime game, kind of a fluke game. You know, I think they're going to be ready to rock and roll and show out for them fans. I know them fans in Seattle, they ain't got shit else to do, so they'll be locked and loaded, ready to go. You know, night game. It ain't going to be easy for Stafford and the boys, and obviously it hasn't been easy for Stafford any time in Seattle. You know, but I think that the offense is going to carry. You know, I think that the Rams defense is suspect at most, at best. You know, I think they're just living off the names, Jim. They've lost, they lost some pieces. I don't see much on the other side of that, of the secondary from Ramsey. The linebackers are very suspect. I think Seattle can attack this defense, and the numbers say it to me, to be honest with you.
God, okay.
I want to fire the Rams. I really do. It's just, and the whole fucking world is on the Rams. There's one person in this chat said that they're on the Seahawks, because I haven't seen nobody that's on the Seahawks. I see people teasing the Seahawks, but that's a different story.
Well, Mike M, his curb stomp play today is Seattle Seahawks +3, so he's waiting for it to get to 3.
Yeah. You think it's going to get to 3?
No.
Neither do I. So that's like a dream. Me too. That would be my play too. I think Sweaty Butcher might be on Seattle tonight. He said, I don't think I've seen him say that, but he's bringing out a lot of stats that back up Russ in prime time. He might be on that side. But I literally, Jim, have not heard one person out here in Vegas or anywhere betting Seattle plus the points or money line.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
And you got the Seattle hat on too. That makes me a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I am close to moving on a first half under. I'm already on the Rams -2.5. Let's go back over Dutchie's looks here. He is on Stafford over 298.5 passing yards, minus 115. Jefferson over 43.5 receiving yards and anytime TD plus 210. And Russell Wilson over 21.5 rush yards at minus 110. Man, I tell you what, I love having you here on a Thursday. I know you got a busy schedule, but if we could make a habit of having you here on Thursdays, I would be all over that, Dutchie.
Yeah, man. I love spending my mornings with you, Jimmy. So yeah, man, being here or being on the laptop, either one is nice with me, bro. I like it.
I love it.
Usually here with you until, I try to make it through that baseball shit, but it's a lot nicer only 1 or 2 games. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are happy that baseball's out the door as well. And your season is coming up as well. NBA right around the corner. I can't wait to hear what Pub Sports Radio has planned for NBA, but we know that Dutch Boy Fresh will be front and center.
Very excited for that, bro.
CT Bays. Okay, Basil says Seattle hasn't lost 3 in a row at home since 2008.
Yeah. Yeah. And that week 1 was all the fans back. That shit they had that game. They gave it away at the end. I think they definitely have that in the back of their mind. So this is a tough game to me, Jim. The beautiful thing about this is we don't have to bet this shit. I'm betting the props. I don't need to side. I'm going to root for a lot of points. I hope all of our friends win and you win. But I need points in this game. So I don't like anything on the unders, to be honest with you, because I need up and down. Let's go. But 26.5 does seem like an awful lot in that first half. But when you said 17-10, I could see that. I could see that in the first half.
17-10 is a high-scoring first half. If there's an expectation that these defenses, and the goal will be to tire out these defenses that were just, 72 hours ago on the field getting beaten up, then I would be concerned that the second half would go over and the first half would go under.
Yeah. I like first half unders a lot more, I'll tell you that. And honestly, what it needs to be is take care of the ball. If you don't see any turnovers, especially in their own territory, you probably are on the will hit that under. These fucking turnovers have been killing a lot of unders. That the punt, kickoff, interceptions, fumble, sacks. Next thing you know, 2 touchdowns in 3 fucking minutes. You're like, what just happened?
And also, it's well put. When those of you who know this well, but you see a 6 or 7 minute drive stall with a field goal, then your under is going to cap.
Yeah,
if you see a red zone turnover, if all these teams are going for it on 4th and goal from the 4, and if that gets stopped, you're in business.
Yeah, and both of these teams are very capable of having long, extended drives. So.
Wow, Slatsy just giving us some giant information in NHL. Carey Price entering the Players Assistant Program, taking leave of absence. That's a wild news, Slatsy. I did not hear that. There you have it. Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. Follow our man on Twitter and catch him with NBA Pub Hub. Eric Chain saying, we got to get NBA Pub Hub back. I imagine that it will be back. It was a big success, and Dutch will be front and center in that. But we also have him on our Sunday shows as well, and I'd like to make him a mainstay here on Thursdays. Dutchie, great stuff. Stafford over 298.5 passing yards. Jefferson over 43.5 receiving yards. Anytime TD at plus 210. Russell Wilson is the freshest look, over 21.5 rush yards. A lot of love coming your way from the chat, and richly deserved. Dutchie, have yourself a great day, and thank you for stopping by Betting with the Bag and giving us the goods.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jimmy. Salute, bro. Stay.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh. Actually, Jose, a little quick on the trigger. Let's get Dutchie back for his. We got Dutchie. Dutchie, you want to come back and give us a? I know it was a little quick on the trigger. Usually leave us with something nice, man. Some flow for us. Man.
You said you want to come back. Yeah, man. All right, y'all stay fresh, stay blessed, and let's stay putting these motherfucking bookies to rest. Yeah,
yes, there it is, right there. The guy gets me pumped up. That's what you want from your friends. Get you pumped up for sports, man. That guy gets me pumped up. Can't wait till we can get over this border and I can just move the family down to Vegas. Now, it probably will cut 15 or 20 years off of my life, but do we need those years? Do those years even matter? Got to stop watching pigeons bang on my balcony. All right. I am going to think about this first half under longer. And I clearly have this bias. Maybe I should just stay off of it. I clearly have a bias of what I saw from the Seahawks-Niners game. And so maybe I should just stay off of it. Okay. There is your Thursday nighter. So we have the taint play of the day, Robert Woods, receiving yards over 60.5. Curb stomp play of the day, Seahawks +3. And that's from Mike M. Michael M. has 2 units on Van Jefferson anytime touchdown at +225. Birdie says Vegas has no pigeons. Vegas is a mystical place. Fuck yeah, man. I gotta get down there. Gang Violence says, I hate watching animals bang. Makes me jealous. Says Gang Violence. That's funny. That's funny because, I used to live with 4 comics, and we were right by this park, and there'd be this fucking cat that would come up on this railing and make these horrific sounds. And then you just see all the cats in the neighborhood come, and then a train would be run on the cat. And that didn't make me jealous at all. Okay, we move on to college football. Joseph Gomez saying Jimmy not making it to wearing a diaper age. No, probably not. But, the one thing about having your firstborn a daughter, that I was told from other parents who had daughters was that I should be so thankful that I have a daughter, because who do you think is going to take care of you when you're dying? Your son? Probably right. All right, we move on to NCAA football. Thank you guys all so much for joining us, and a big thank you to Dutch Boy Fresh. There's Elio in the house. Ryan Bottinelli ready to go. Coke and Devil Folk came and look at these names. They're so wild, man. You got Gang Violence and Coke and Devil Folk. Coke and Devil Folk says the over on the Coastal game is a lock. That is a word that we don't use here. Lock. But let's get to work. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I'm getting pumped up, man. Yeah, I'm getting pumped up, baby, being sick and fucking whining like a little bitch. Dutchie has me pumped up. Number 15 ranked Coastal Carolina, Chanticleers. If you want to stop being pumped up, say Chanticleers a few times. Go read Canterbury Tales. Try to read Canterbury Tales. The Chanticleers. 5-0, 1-0 in the Sun Belt. At Arkansas State, Red Wolves 1-4, 0-1 in the Sun Belt. We're at Centennial Bank Stadium in Jonesboro, Arkansas. All right. Gang Violence says, my name's Gang Violence because I make bets on combat sports. Okay. Osby says, bust the Kraken out. In all honesty, Osby, I've been just fucking moody and sick and shitty, so I did very quietly pour a little Kraken in my coffee this morning. And I'm only telling you that because the girlfriend and the baby just left about 5 minutes ago, so I can comfortably say that. Okay, let's move on. First, we're going to start off with the market here. Let's start off with the market. And we have Coastal Carolina, Arkansas State. Let's move to spreads and totals as well. While that's loading, here it is. So, shit, that's loading. I just went to sides and totals. Okay, here we go. Market move here is fucking loading. Coastal Carolina opening up as 17.5-point favorites. They're now 20-point favorites. And we're going to break down these games pretty heavy. We got lots of times. We're going to break down these games pretty heavy. And when I talk about having a bias about what I saw from the Rams last week against the Niners, I have this exact same bias from what I saw from Coastal Carolina in their lone road game of the year at Buffalo when they squeaked out a 28-25 win. Now, I know that Buffalo is better than Arkansas State, but we don't really know how. Look, we know that Arkansas State's defense is absolutely atrocious and that their offense is dangerous. We also know that Arkansas State's been on the road for 3 straight weeks. Maybe coming home can be a different. You can already hear that I'm interested in Arkansas State a little bit, but that's just because of this bias I have of what happened when they played Buffalo. This total opened up at 70. It's now 73. So we have a big market move towards Coastal Carolina and a big market move towards the over. Let's see if those both fit what's gone on here in the cash flow market. 11,008 tickets in. 93% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on Coastal Carolina. Wow. Then, and here it is. And this is making my palms leak right now. We'll break down this game before I make a move on it. But 42% of the tickets on the under and 75% of cash on the under, and it's moved up to 73. Moved up to 73. All right. Okay, just taking a look at the notes. Coke and Devil Folk says, my bad, didn't mean to say hello. It's okay. It's okay you said it. But Arkansas State defense is horrible. They are horrible. Let's go. Coastal Carolina has looked dominant at home this year. They were 14.5-point favorites when they went to Buffalo. And Buffalo's not that good a football team. They squeaked out a 28-25 victory. They're coming off a 59-6 home beatdown of the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks as 33.5-point favorites. They rack up 557 yards of offense. They limit the Warhawks to just 203 yards. They feel good about themselves. They've outscored their last two opponents 112-9. That's in everybody's head. That's in their head, and it's in the cappers and gamblers' heads. They're averaging 528 yards of offense and 48.2 points per game. McCall is number one in FBS in completion percentage at 80.2%. 1,113 yards, 10 touchdowns, just one interception. Coastal Carolina offense is dynamite. We know that. Dynamite. And chosen one, NBA future, Wendell Carter Jr., most improved player. I like that chosen one. I hope it is because I have Wendell Clark Jr., NBA top shot, first card. Not that it matters. But I do love collecting them. Now let's go to the Red Wolves, last in the Sun Belt in points allowed and overall defense. Coastal Carolina, Shamari Jones is a very dangerous senior tailback. He missed the last two games due to a turf toe. They say he's going to be good to go today. We'll see. Coastal Carolina is averaging 8.28 yards per play. That's second only to Ohio State's 8.57. Arkansas State coming off a 59-33 loss at Georgia Southern as 2-point dogs. Maxwell Smart is on the Coastal team, total over. Puzzler says Arizona has a terrible pass defense. Arkansas State let Georgia Southern gash them for 503 yards rushing. That's the most yards they've allowed rushing since 1954. Their pass defense allows 300.6 yards per game through the air. That's 121st nationally. They've given up 14 touchdown passes. So yeah, they're horrible. I get it. Now let's talk about what's good about them. And you start with James Blackman. Now, ex-Florida State James Blackman is second in the Sun Belt in total offense and passing yards a game. And it's not only him back there, he's got pressure. Lane Hatcher is going to get snaps, and Blackman doesn't want him to. 4 interceptions they had last game, 3 by Blackman, 1 by Hatcher. Coastal Carolina is giving up just 130 yards a game through the air. They've not allowed a touchdown pass. So Arkansas has lost 6 of its last 7 games. They played 3 straight road games. And Centennial Bank Stadium is going to be rocking. The Chanticleers are the highest-ranked team to ever play inside Arkansas State Centennial Bank Stadium. Arkansas State passing attack is 5th nationally and 1st in the Sun Belt. They average 377 yards a game. Their offensive line is terrible. 20 sacks they've allowed. Only 6 FBS teams have allowed more. So, with all this being said, and everybody believing in what they've seen from Coastal Carolina, I get it. And I'm stuck here thinking about how Coastal Carolina is so dominant at home and didn't look good in that one game against Buffalo. And yes, Buffalo's defense is much better than Arkansas State's defense. And yeah, Coastal Carolina probably wrecked shop, but my first thought initially was, God, I wonder if Arkansas State, with all the emotion, everybody losing their minds, can stay in the game in the first quarter. But I did think I'd get better than +6. I imagine this will be +7 by the time Kickoff happens. Even so, do I want it? I don't know. Cab says, get over Buffalo, though. Coastal nut kicked me to that game, but this is Arkansas State. Sean Thompson. There it is. Arkansas State plus the points. Osby says, the real question is, how many points do you see Arkansas scoring? Coke and Devil Folk says, Arkansas State, since they went to James Blackman, their offense has been scoring. Says, I can see them scoring at least 21 to 24 and Coastal scoring 50 plus. Arkansas did let Memphis score 50 on them. Cab says, I got Coastal on Sunday at minus 16.5 and minus 120. That's beauty. That's a great job, Cab. Says, I know everyone says not to buy points in college, but I have a fetish about some numbers, and 17 is one of them. Nikolai Jubitsky says he's rolling with Johnny K. Coastal first half. I get that. And Coke and Devil folks, right. Arkansas State will score late when Coastal takes the starters out. Now, there is a possibility, and Cab says get that Buffalo game out of your mind, but there is a possibility that it's not as easy as it looks. Thanks, Sean Thompson. Respect, man. I love seeing your action. You're such a sharp capper. And Puzzler says Coastal Carolina is playing App State next. Cab's giving us a final score of 54-21. Johnny K says can see a backdoor cover here. We've seen that in the past in Coastal Carolina games. Well, with all of this information, I am still just staring. One thing is clear. If you have any interest in the under and you have any interest in Arkansas State, wait. Wait. Show discipline and wait. This total is going to go up, and money's just going to keep pouring in on Coastal Carolina. And at some point, I may look at the Arkansas State Red Wolves. Because if it was the Arkansas State Red Wolves against Coastal Carolina backups, the Red Wolves would put up a nice amount of points. It'd be a game. Will that happen at some point if Coastal Carolina is ahead? Brian, my man Brian says, Brian Pacone says Buffalo's a solid team for a MAC team. Ryan Bottinelli still looking at that team total over. The thing about Arkansas State Red Wolves is this, is with their passing attack being strong and the Coastal Carolina secondary being excellent and Coastal Carolina not allowing a passing touchdown all year, you would think that Arkansas State Red Wolves might get a few first downs, but not get in the end zone. And anytime you're looking for an under with a very high score, you know, a high total of like 73, which is what we're dealing with now, that's kind of what you want. You want a team that can get you a few first downs, but won't get in the end zone. Rodney Barton says Coastal team total over and lean full game over. Nolino says that's the main word in betting, discipline. And it's something that I've obviously had a problem with in the past. We've seen what McCall can do when it's not a crazy atmosphere. Tonight's going to be a crazy atmosphere. They're going to be losing their minds, and he's going to have trouble making changes to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, Brian, we just heard that from Slatsy. So I'll tell you this straight up. I won't be on Coastal Carolina. And I'll cheer you guys on. In this type of a gambling situation, when the team's been so dominant and so dominant at home and have won their games 112-9 against their last two opponents, now going into a Centennial Bank Stadium, it's going to be rocking, and this is the best team that's ever come into Centennial Bank Stadium. I want to bet them or no bet at all. Now, maybe this becomes no bet at all, but I'm going to sit back and wait, see how high this total goes up, and see what number I can get on Arkansas State at some point, but maybe I'll just stay off. Cap says Coastal has so many 6-year players because of COVID, and they won by 29 last year against almost the same team. All right, and Maxwell Smart says some of us can handle more than others. Volume life. And any of you guys have seen Max in college basketball, he'll make 40, 50 bets in a day, no problem. At least. Trotwam says, fun belt action. Coastal is better than everyone in the conference. All right. There you have Coastal, Carolina, Arkansas State Red Wolves. And no action from me at this point. But I'm interested. Very interested in this game. All right, we move on to the next spot at 7:30 p.m. Houston Cougars 4-1, 2-0 in the American at Tulane Green Wave 1-4, 0-1 in the American. We're at Yeoman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's start with the market. So here again, clearly the market and the gamblers are going to be thinking about what they saw the week before. It's just we can't help it. It's a subconscious. We can't stop it from happening. And that's why that book, I say it over and over again to you guys, The Undoing Project, is such an incredible read by Michael Lewis. And you guys, all gamblers should read it. And it's the best book I've ever read for my gambling. And it's not a gambling book. And for sports fans, you get one chapter, the first chapter. It's unbelievably interesting. But it's still good the rest of the book, just not about sports. Houston was spectacular last week. There's no other way to put it. 45-10 win at Tulsa is 3.5-point dogs. Houston opening up as 4.5-point road favorites. It's now at 6.5. This total's gone from 62 down to 60. Bet Online's at 59.5. Heritage is at 60.5. And Pinnacle, let's just take a look at Pinnacle's trajectory here. Pinnacle already went down to 59. And 57.5. It got down to 57.5 on Tuesday. And it's now sitting at 60. Okay. Now let's take a look at the cash flow in this spot. These are going to be fun. It's going to be a fun night of sports, man. Not quantity, but spectacular quality. 9,923 tickets in. On the spread, you have 77% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on Houston. Then on the total, 43% of the tickets and 69% of the cash on the under. Very, very interesting. Trotwam says it was about Tulsa more than it was Houston, in my opinion. I'm trading lightly here. There's my guy DX Filer, Gamblestein in the house. CT Bay says lines move too high. Says Tulane plus 6.5. And in all honesty, I would not be shocked if a 7 gets on the board in about 5 or 6 hours. These road favorites are going to keep getting bet all night. Okay, let's break it down. After opening up the season with a 38-21 loss at home versus Texas Tech, Houston has won 4 straight. They've scored over 40 points in 3 of those 4 games. They've held all but one of those opponents to 10 or less. They're coming off that dominant win at Tulsa, 45-10. Alton McCaskill, 3 touchdowns. The freshman scored 3 touchdowns last game. Gained 77 yards and 17 carries, twice from the 1 from the 27. Clayton Tune, 17 and 24 for 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So he opened the year with that 4 interception game against Texas Tech. Since then, he's looked better. 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You have Alton McCaskill and Tazon Henry. They've combined for 10 rushing touchdowns. The Cougars are the second best scoring defense. They allow just 15 points per game, and that's in the conference. So Cincinnati could be in the college playoff. He's the only one better than the Houston Cougars at this point. 3.2 sacks per game and 25% third down conversion rate. They lead the AAC. So this Houston defense is real. And Ron Crawford coming with a spreadsheet play of the day. Tampa Bay. Ooh-wee. Let's just copy and paste that. And look at Tyrone Coleman says, if you take Tulane plus 6.5, you're going to need 14 more. Ooh, wow. Okay, let me just copy and paste this so we can go over the spreadsheet play of the day from Ron Crawford. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ron. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is the Tampa Bay Rays. Why not? We're talking about it right now. Tampa Bay Rays spreadsheet play of the day. And I am on the Red Sox team total under 3.5, and I'm also on the Rays first 5 minus half. Okay. Johnny K says Houston letdown spot. And I agree. I don't see how. Well, I don't know if it's going to be a full letdown spot, but I don't see how they're not going to be overvalued at this point with what they've done. I don't see how, legitimately, I don't see how these two road teams aren't going to both be completely overvalued and both be hammered by the public. Okay, let's go over to this Tulane Green Wave squad and break them down now. So, an excellent start to the season. So these two teams had completely different starts to their season. They just barely lose at then number 2 Oklahoma 40-35. Since then, they've not looked good, and they're yet to register an FBS win. They come in on a 3-game losing streak, most recently losing 52-29 at East Carolina as 3-point favorites. Their defense has been atrocious. Only 7 teams have allowed more total yards per game than Tulane's 482. That's UMass, Arkansas State. Oh, wait, sorry. This is different. This is the 4 teams that have allowed more points per game than Tulane. UMass has allowed the most points in the league. Arkansas State second. Kansas third, Akron fourth. So we have, playing tonight, 2 of the worst 5 scoring defenses in the nation. The Pirates put up 612 yards of offense. 612 yards of offense. And the Green Wave offense turned the ball over 4 times. Michael Pratt, 22 of 36. Freshman Michael Pratt, 22 of 36 for 268 yards. And threw 3 picks. We have a horseplay from Dennis Trusty. A horseplay from Dennis Trusty here. The ROI on his horseplays would be magnificent. Irish Constitution at 8-1. Very consistent. It's been off the board in races going shorter than a mile. And out of 6 races, needs to get faster, but she can do it. I'll copy and paste that here. Belmont, race 8. Okay. We do have a special game that will be following this one. A Saturday game that we will talk to put a bow on this show. But Cougars, Green Wave, New Orleans, Louisiana. I want to bet this under. I would like to bet both of these unders today. I don't know if I can do it, but I want to. And I think that it might be more privy to bet a first half under in that Coastal Carolina Arkansas State game. Certainly not yet. Let the public hammer this up and away. But this one, I feel like if Tulane can just protect the ball here at home. God, this might be just too risky. Houston's offense is not a quick strike destruction offense. They kind of wear you down. Ron Crawford says Cougars are too easy. Tulane or pass. Billy Friedrichs on the other side. He says favorite or pass. CT Bay says you might think Houston by 2 TDs, not taking the bait. Tulane keeps it close at home. So, look, we talked about what Houston did in that 45-10 win at Tulsa, but let's go back 2 games. Let's go back to that game in Navy. Let's move over there right now very quickly and just go over what happened there, because all we're talking about is how good this Houston team has looked, but they did not look good in that game. Let's move over there quickly, and then we'll just move on. And what happened? Why? Why did they not look good? Let's just figure that out here, and then I'll move past it, and we'll go on to the final game, a special game that we're adding here. All right, come on. Hurry up. Sorry, it's just taking a second here. Too many things open. So if we can try to draw any similarities. Come on. Sorry, it's just taking a second. And again, we have a gambling situation where we have both unders taking big bets and the public hammering overs. Okay, so they play Navy at home. They are big favorites. They are, let's see here. They are, what were they? They were 20-point favorites. And they were down 17-7 at the break. Why? What was it about they're allowing big plays, big running plays? They barely beat Navy at home and didn't turn the ball over once. So let's just go to the team stats and see what was it about Navy that shut them down. They went 5 for 11 on third down. Navy went 3 for 15 on third down, but 4 for 5 on fourth down. Navy held the ball for 32 minutes. Osby says, I like both full game overs. Tyrone Coleman says, Navy's defense is 5 times better than Tulane's. And Cupcake City coming up from Maxwell Smart. Tyrone Coleman says, don't do it. Well, I'll tell you this. This is where I sit. I think that the last thing that you want to have are big road favorites. And we've seen Houston. We have 2 road teams that have come off just demolishing the opposition at home. Actually, Houston's wasn't Tulsa, so that doesn't really work. Billy Friedrich says Tulane allowing 70% completion percentage to opponents. Patrick, you are a good man, my friend. Patrick, one of the stars of the chat in our horse racing show. Thank you, Patrick. Billy Friedrich says Tulane D giving up 6.7 yards per play. I tell you what, and maybe this is just being contrarian, and I should just sit back and really take note of why I feel these things. But these 2 huge road favorites, I don't want. I guess it just comes down to that. I just don't want. Look, I know that the books love these situations. Does that mean I'm going to back Arkansas State because of the Buffalo game? Probably not. But I do have interest in the under because I do think Arkansas State can get first downs and then not score. And it's the biggest game that's ever happened at Centennial. At this point, I've made no moves on these 2 NCAA football games, but I plan to. And I plan to go over everything we've talked about and go over the chat and figure this shit out. All right. Maxwell Smart says you got to look at it from the number perspective. You're getting the ass end of the line with Houston and need to get a key number with Tulane at plus 7.5. It's a pass on the side. Dennis Trusty says everyone thought Houston would have struggles last week. They did not. I think this is where they struggle, but I don't know if I want to take the plus 6.5, but I think I will. And Ron Crawford on the Coastal team total over. Okay. And there's Leonard Porsche in the house. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, Leonard. Let me know. Let's talk on Twitter. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. All right. There it is. There is the 2 big games. This is fun, man, getting to deep dive into the games with no pressure, time pressure. So those are all of tonight's action. The playoff games in baseball, the Thursday nighter in football, and the 2 games in NCAA football. But we have one more game for you. And Maxwell Smart gave us a little piece of what he's thinking in this game. And he is on UTSA plus 3.5. Oh, I see a horn. It's not a horn. What is it called again? Sorry. Not a horn?
What the fuck?
All right. UTSA plus 3.5. Our man, Jose Bouquett, a UTSA fan, a UTSA graduate, a man who knows this team very, very well. Venezuela's own Jose Bouquett will be joining our show to break down the UTSA Roadrunners, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, LT Smith Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Oh, that's not it. Please welcome to the show, Jose Bouquett. Jose, how are you?
Doing well, Jimmy. Doing well. Another biggest game in program history game for UTSA. So it's another exciting week.
Yes, it's a huge game and interesting to see Max on them as well. Max says, respect Western Kentucky and who they played, but this is a spot where UTSA could be down 10 going to the fourth quarter, and I still have confidence in them coming back to beat the spread. They seem to be a team that's handling adversity very well. By the way, Osby saying October 12th, counting down the days till you start going in the NHL. Yes, Tuesday, October 12th, we'll do the, I believe there's one college football game. We'll do the baseball playoff game. We'll do the college football game, and then the rest of the show will be all NHL. Futures, division breakdowns, game breakdowns. We're in this all NHL on Tuesday. Okay. Jose, you say this is the biggest game for the UTSA Roadrunners. Coming off their fifth straight win, a very underwhelming 24-17 home victory over UNLV as 21.5-point favorites. UNLV had a 4th and 10 from the UTSA 36 with 39 seconds left to tie it. They won despite forcing 3 turnovers, not turning the ball over themselves.
Well, I mean, we expected this.
You expected the letdown spot after the huge victory.
Yeah, we expected that. I told Connor that 21 points is just way, way too many. So, yeah, we expected that.
Now we have Frank Harris, 6 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. McCormack, 541 yards rushing. Going up against Western Kentucky, a very angry Western Kentucky on a 3-game losing streak. They lose by 3 points at Army, lose by 2 points at home to Indiana, then lost last week 48-31 at Michigan State as 10.5-point dogs, and it was a messed up game. If you were on Western Kentucky, it's the kind of game that makes you want to throw your TV or computer through the window. They outgained Michigan State 560-519. They lose by 17. They have 31 first downs compared to the Spartans' 26. And Bailey Zapp, a grad transfer from Houston Baptist, who went over to Western Kentucky with his offensive coordinator, looks dynamite. 16 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1,712 yards. Allison says Western Kentucky should have covered Michigan State game. QB for Western Kentucky was playing hurt and still had a great game. Okay, here we go. And Billy Friedrich says wrong team is favored in this one. Jose Bouquett, UTSA, Western Kentucky, take it away.
Yeah, so we've talked about it a couple times throughout the year so far. I think I came on when they played Illinois. I think I gave them up the money line. I told people to bet them. I gave them out against Memphis, was confident there. This is the most important game of the program's history again. We said it. They have not gone 6-0 in program history, one other 5-0, but that was when the program was fake and still starting, so that doesn't really count. This is, again, most important game of the year. Their offense is great. Western Kentucky's now I'm talking about. Their quarterback is fantastic, which worries me, and the high total at 70.5 concerns me as well, because UTSA is not – they're not that guy when it comes to offensive football. They're not going to score your 40 points and keep up. It's the defensive line that will keep them in games, and it is running the ball with Sincere McCormick, who could be one of the best running backs in the nation, which is pretty funny to say coming out of UTSA. Led the nation in rushing last year, I believe. He was at least top 5. He should have got Heisman votes. He's the reason why this team stays afloat, because Frank Harris is not a great quarterback. He's a good quarterback, though. I like UTSA plus 3.5 in this game. Offensive line issues for UTSA. I think they're going to come back healthy for this game. 3.5, I thought it was an interesting. I think they can win the game outright. So 3.5 just seems like a gift. Western Kentucky is building it up. I was looking on their Twitter feeds like, oh, come out here, bring the intensity. So I expect it to be a good atmosphere. A slow first half. I think we'll go with a slow first half. My play of the day on this would be the under 70.5, because I think it'll be a defensive game to start off with. I think UTSA will slow them down. And I think UTSA's main point of emphasis is if we get the ball, we keep the ball, and let's run the ball with Sincere McCormick. I think against them, Western Kentucky only averages apparently a nation low of 22 rushing attempts against them, and I think that's mainly due to them passing the ball so much and always trying to keep them on the other team on the front foot or the back foot, and keeping them down. So I think that if UTSA runs the ball efficiently, they chew the clock, and they keep this game under. I think UTSA wins the game. I have them plus 3.5, so we can make both of those official, Jimmy. That's how big baller we're feeling. Maybe this is how I'll get under in the negatives, but I'll take UTSA plus 3.5, and I'll take the under 70.5. It's 70 right now on Bovada. It's minus 110, but I just think UTSA it's a special season. It really is. Has felt special this whole year. Me and my other UTSA compatriots, we have circled this game down as really the last one. If they can win this game, then running the table is there. It's really there, and that is crazy to think about because UTSA was dog shit just 2 years ago, like absolutely horrific. And now I just think that if they win this game, they can run the table, and it'll be a very, very fun game to watch. This is a very, very underrated game on Saturday, and I will be at a wedding Saturday, and I'll be watching the game at the wedding.
As you should, and your male friends will respect it. Who cares what the – actually, let's just – okay, so let's go over the market here. Western Kentucky opens as 2.5-point favorites. It moves to 3.5. But Pinnacle this morning at 8:54 a.m. moved it back to 3. And they've moved it back to 3 before, and it's gone right back to 3.5. They moved it back to 3 yesterday, and it went right back to 3.5. But they're at 3 right now. Then from a total perspective, let's move over to the total. We have it opening at 68, moving down to 67, back to 68, 69, and 70. With the cash flow here, we have 1,815 tickets in. 51% of the tickets are on Western Kentucky and 84% of the cash. That's why it's moved from 2.5 to 3.5. So then you have to ask yourself, if this line opened at 3.5, what would the ticket breakdown be? Because this is a crucial number. The problem with my kind of blanket statement about not wanting to make any bets when the cash is that much higher than the tickets, because then I believe I'm on the wrong side of the big bets, and I just prefer not to do that. I think my ROI will be negative if I go up against those big bets. Is a little different when the market goes from 2.5 to 3.5, because maybe now at 3.5 it would be the opposite. It's possible. But this total, 69% of tickets on the under and 94% of cash on the under, your breakdown of wanting the ball in Sincere's hand as much as possible to keep Zap and this Western Kentucky offense that looks really strong off the field screams under.
It's the same thing they did to Memphis. Memphis has a good offense too, but they gave the ball to Sincere. I believe it was actually over 40 times, which is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, no, I expect this game to be just run for UTSA. Like I said, I'm making the 3.5 an official play of the day. But the fact that Western Kentucky opened up as favorites and is 3.5 now does worry me. However, my trusty, my man, my boy, my guy, Maxwell Smart is on UTSA. My other guy, Bobano, also on UTSA earlier in the week on this Monday, hitting the books. So it's a magical simi. It's a magical season. Simi is Jimmy and season put together. But yeah, I just think that UTSA can do this, Jim. It's pretty weird to be out here openly like flaunting my UTSA-ness after being enemy number 1 around campus for 2 years. But I just this is the year. This is the year. When
I was in grade 12, our high school football team went 0-8, and it was great. It was great because you don't want to, you're going to lose pussy to the football players. And when they go 0-8, maybe you don't have to lose that much. You know?
Well, Jimmy, hold on. We're still talking high school. I would like to tell you, in my 3 years of high school here, my football team went a combined like 2-16. So
That's great. It's perfect.
yeah,
Right? It's
2
perfect.
losses or 2 wins in 1 year. So it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Perfect.
The rest they just went defeated. Yeah, it was awesome. Shout out to the quarterback though, who still stole my girlfriend. Not a big deal.
Oh, see, yeah, I didn't. I made fun of the football players nonstop, and I was close enough friends with them to not get my ass kicked. Okay, Jose, you start with plus 3.5. What juice?
3.5 right now on our friends at Bet Dog, minus 115 currently. So that makes me feel a little better. But it's going to be a stressful game. It's going to be a stressful game for the UTSA fans, especially with it being on the road. You know, the Dome is definitely a safe haven for UTSA. And like I said, if they can win this game, I think they can run the table and go undefeated and do something special this year.
And the under 70 at what number?
Minus 110.
I see a 105 at Pinnacle. I'd rather give you that. Is that?
All right, we'll take that too, Jimmy. Whatever you want to give me.
Under 70 at minus 1.
Those 5 cents are probably the 5 cents going to keep me in the positive. So we need it.
It's tough. It's tough because you're a baseball fan. Your team has made it here, and then you're a UTSA guy, and they're 5-0, and so you.
I'm an Oklahoma State guy too, and I haven't said shit about them. I think they suck ass. So except when I bet them in Bedlam and get my heart ripped out like I do every year. So.
I like it. I think it was a great breakdown. It was a fun breakdown. UTSA Roadrunners 5-0, 1-0 in the Conference USA, going for 6-0, possibly sweeping the board. You have Maxwell Smart backing you, and it's a very interesting idea that goes against what I want to do. I don't want to ever bet on a team that has more money than tickets bet on them, but you have to think. But at 3.5, what would the breakdown be? And we've seen Pinnacle move it to 3. I mean, so the idea is that UTSA will keep this close. That's the idea.
Well, they're going to win the game outright, but yeah. And by the way, this is a road runner. You see?
It's not a horn sometimes.
A horn. What
it's not
hell?
It's not your cock measurement.
No, this is a good measurement though. I would have to spread out my fingers just a little bit longer. However, this is the 1 in the stink and then 1 in the pink. Actually,
Jesus, it's 1 in the pink, 4 in the stink. I don't know where you come from.
Well, it's it's a Venezuelan thing, you know.
Okay, you guys are a little more conservative, Venezuela.
Yeah. The men are a little more conservative there. You know, the women obviously aren't. We can discuss that later time. But my butthole is puckered tight, Jimmy. Since we're talking buttholes,
it has nothing to do with your ass. Nothing to do.
We will never everything to do with my ass.
We will, in fact. Let's get him off. All right, UTSA Roadrunners, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Our man Jose doubling up here. Jose plus 3.5 on UTSA at minus 115, and the under 70 at minus 105. Minus 105. And I want the under in this game as well. My fear is that we know that Western Kentucky can quick strike, and would it be better? Would you be better off on the first half here?
I like the first half as well, but I think UTSA's defense is good enough to stop this quick strike offense. The defensive line is specifically what I'm talking about. Corners, I could easily, Jimmy. Here's the thing: I could easily see the first half like 2-2, like the first quarter for Memphis, for example. UTSA comes out, bam, 14-0 off of 2 big miscommunications in the secondary, and you can screw you like that. But I think UTSA is a resilient enough team to come back from that, even if they do go down. Memphis is a better team than Western Kentucky. They've been here before. That's why I like the full game. Don't fuck around with the first half, Jimmy. It's 70 points. 70 points is a lot of points, Jimmy. A lot of points.
Sorry, laughing at Birdie. Birdie's Urban Meyer pregame speech this weekend. All right, men, let's go put 1 in the pink, 2 in the stink, and let's go win this thing. And right behind them, you have Jameis Winston with 2 fingers in his mouth. What kind of leader puts fingers in his mouth? What what kind of imagery comes up when you put two fingers in your mouth? I tell you what, I'm not going to show you. Fuck, man. That's a great speech, though, from Urban Meyer. Great speech. I would actually give him some respect. Instead, he's like, no, I've been with my wife for 37 years. She knows what I do. She knows, and she just wants to cash checks. Oh, you're back.
Oh, I was going to ask you a question. I was going to see, can you give us your interpretation of Urban's speech? I'd just like to see you kind of get into that space because, Jimmy, you're a thespian. I've heard you're a thespian.
I was one.
Well, you are one in my head. Don't you worry. Once a thespian, always a thespian.
Sure. Sure.
And
thespian's not a very masculine term either. I feel like there's a little bit of an inkling of disrespect in there.
Well, I mean, I just gotta call you what it is. You're a thespian. You're the man of the films. But I just wanted to see your interpretation of Urban Meyer's locker room speech. Maybe some Al Pacino in there too. I just wanted to get you in that headspace, and maybe I want you to give me that speech. Give us going. Get the boys going.
No. How about that? That's one of the one of the rules. The improvisational rules is you never block. You never block. You say yes and. But for you, Jose, fucking no. How about that? Fucking no. No, I won't. And by the way, a little cracking in the coffee really gets the day started. Like
we're feeling good. We're feeling good. I don't know why I keep bouncing in and out. Maybe I should just stay, I guess.
I don't know why either, but we don't have a lot of games to cap in it. We're not losing viewers. Oh, we are. We're losing viewers right now. Jose, get off! Get off! Okay. Losing viewers. Viewers are dropping. Okay. I've got to think about these 3 college football games longer. But the under 70, I think I should probably just bet. My issue, okay, here, I'll tell you what. I'm going to bet an under in UTSA Western Kentucky. The thing is that what's keeping me off is saying, I think the first half under is because what if UTSA does have a lead? We know they just want to run the ball down Western Kentucky's throat. Okay, we have 2 minutes before Babano's big football show. Thank you, guys. It was a really fun show with you guys today. Thank you all so much. Winner Captain, they want Devin. Devin says, "So can he pop in anytime he wants?" Yes, he's the producer of the show. He's got
one more week of this. I've got one more week of this. That fan, let me live my life. That fan, let me hit that fan for you. I'm about to go 3-0. I'm about to hit the Red Sox team total over 3.5. Jimmy's going to take me out to a fine steak dinner in Toronto's finest. Because that's not going to be here, goddammit. It's going to be up there.
Sure.
2, UTSA is going to win outright, go 6-0. And 3, it's going to be like a 2-6 game, and we're going to hit that under, no fucking problem, Dav fan. 3-0, and then I'll get to do what I want for even a longer period of time.
He's right. If he is a losing capper, he does not have the right to come on the show as he pleases. As a winning capper, he has that right. Dav fan says, I'm tailing Jose. We're going 3-0. Okay, we got to go. 1 minute till, just quick review, and then head over to Babano's football frenzy. Spreadsheet play of the day for Ron Crawford is Tampa Bay Rays. Pimp slap play of the day, White Sox first 5+1/2. Robert Cherry's on Coastal Carolina first half. Houston first half and full game. And in the NHL, he's hammering it. Florida +1.5. Pittsburgh money line. Montreal money line. New York Islanders money line. Edmonton money line. Vegas money line. Astros money line in baseball in the over 7.5. And don't forget, Tuesday, all NHL all the time. Cab says, by the way, Jimmy, I posted my first video today. You inspired me. Cab, are you on Twitter? Because I'd love to support that. Get on Twitter, and I'd love to help support that. In the ALDS, I'm off of White Sox Astros. I just can't bet against that big-titted bulldog in Lance Lynn, but I don't want the White Sox here. And then I am fading Jose's Red Sox. Team total under 3.5. We're going heads up in that game for a steak dinner, and I will also be betting it, so I'll win twice in one bet. And then the first 5 -1/2 for the Tampa Bay Rays. Then in NFL, Robert Woods receiving yards over 60.5 is the taint play of the day. The Curd Stomp play of the day from Mike M. Seahawks +3. Michael M. We have Mike M. and Michael M. Michael M. putting 2 units on Van Jefferson anytime touchdown at +225. These are Dutch Boy freshest looks. Stafford over 298.5 passing yards, -115. Van Jefferson over 43.5 receiving yards, -115. And anytime touchdown at +210. Russell Wilson is the freshest look, over 21.5 rush yards at -110. Then we move on to college football, and all we have at this point is Jose. But I want this. I'm very interested in the Houston Tulane under. And I think I just need a little bit more time on it. And I'm very interested in both the under in Coastal Carolina, Arkansas State Red Wolves and the fucking Red Wolves themselves. But just want the public to keep betting the over, keep betting Coastal Carolina. Then, because maybe, just maybe, I know Cab says take that Buffalo game out of your mind, but just maybe they're not as good on the road as they are at home, right? Simply put. Jose is on the Roadrunners plus 3.5. So is Maxwell Smart. He's also on the under 70 at -105. And I like that look. And I think I'll just go full game because if UTSA is in the lead, they're going to run the ball down the throat. Thank you guys so much. We truly have no okay. All right. You're welcome to FaceTime me. We truly have no show without you guys in the chat. Because not only do you bring your insights and your humor to the show, but you inspire us to try harder and to care more. And that means so much to us. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I can't shout you all out. Go over to Babano's Football Frenzy right now on behalf of Jose Bouquett, Jeff Slaughter, and myself, everybody at Pop Sports Radio. Thank you for the support, but most importantly, let's milk this shit. Let's say, hey, those bookmakers!